This is a Mazda CX-60 and it's a little bit like a Citizen watch. This Japanese piece of machinery might not be quite as expensive as those from Europe, but it still looks rather smart. Now in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this car, talk you around the exterior, the interior, see how practical it is and take it for a drive. And of course, I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. I'm Matt Watson and you're watching CarWow. Buy, sell, CarWow. Let's start this video by talking about the design of the Mazda CX-60. And I'm going to have to pick Mazda up on this immediately. Stick of truth. Look at this. Twin tailpipes, which are completely fake. Which is bizarre, because underneath this car, look, you can see one tailpipe there, that's the real one there, and then there's another one there, real. They're a decent size, and you'd have two pipes instead of quad pipes, and that would look fine. Why go with the fakery? It's an absolute shame as well, because I quite like the rear of this car, but I just can't get over that feature now. I've seen it. Moving down the side, yeah, it's good from this angle. Get 20-inch alloy wheels in the top spec version. The started 18s might look a little bit small, but generally the swoopy shape, the glossy bits, the body colour like inserts here that you have on the top spec versions. Entry-level cars get like black cladding, which doesn't quite look so good, but maybe a bit more off-roady. It looks good from this angle. And the paint. Love this Mazda red paint. Beautiful. Here at the front, you got a big, bold Mazda-y grille. Not so sure about like the light design here. Makes the car look a little bit boss-eyed, a little like a Siamese cat or me. See, I'm a little bit boss-eyed. But other than that, it's really good from this angle. And look, it's not faking with these vents, they're real. They do help smooth air down the side of the car. And I think overall, this is a good looking vehicle. Price-wise, starts from £45,000, but it does look expensive. This Mazda is just as nice on the inside as it is on the outside. I like the design of the dash. This is the top specification version, so it's got everything fitted to it, such as this maple wood trim here. And I don't know what this is, it's fabric, but it looks quite nice. You've got squidgy materials there, squidgy materials here. Feels reasonably good quality and some shiny bits. Models low down the range have a bit plainer interior with black leather on the seats rather than this lovely light coloured nappa. I really like this actually. Now the driving position in Mazdas is usually very good and it's no exception in this car. It's perfect. And being the range topper, we have electric operation of the steering wheel. Yeah, just like a Mercedes-Benz. Don't know what that face is all about. Anyhow, the dials, they're digital, nice widescreen view. You can flick through different menus and get different bits of information. Then your main infotainment screen is quite large. Unfortunately, it's not touchscreen. You do operate it with this wheel, which is somehow easier when you're driving, but sometimes when you're just stationary, it's quicker to just be able to input destinations using your fingers. Still, it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, both of which are wireless. Another great feature of this car is you get a heads-up display, standard. In fact, the kit on this range-topping version is really, really good, like heated seats, heated steering wheel, all that kind of stuff. Also, I like this. The climate controls are separated from the main infotainment screen, so you can just quickly set your temperature when you're driving. And I should point out this one has ventilated seats as well, so you can cool yourself if you've got a hot bottom. Anyway, storage, it's a bit shallow, but it's all right. You've got two USB-Cs, you've got two cup holders there, look, fine for a coffee. And an area there, that's your wireless charging for your mobile phone, and if you want to go old school, you've got a 12-volt socket there as well. In here is your glove box, which is of ample proportions. And then there's a little money thingy here, just keep your monies in it. Does anyone use like coins anymore? Anyhow, door bins are big. Look at this, big bottle. Fits into the door bin, no problem at all. A couple of other things, you've got huge sun visors, which is really handy. And decent size vanity mirrors, a place for your sunglasses. And this car is fitted with the optional glass roof, which does open. Anyway, that brings me on to what this car's like in the back. Well, despite that sunroof, headroom's actually okay. I think people over 6 foot will be fine. Well, they will for headroom. I'm not so sure about knee room, especially if they're lanky. There's not loads for this type of car. It's a little bit of a shame because these seats are quite comfy. If you need to carry 3 adults in the back at once, it's a little bit of a squeeze because it isn't the widest car of its type. One last thing to check. The rear windows do not go all the way down. You know when I said that was the last thing to check? It's not, there's a few more things to check. Door bins, here in the back, are big. So that's a win. Also, you've got 2 USB-Cs and a 3-pin socket with 150 watts. So that's another win. You've also got heated rear seats, another win. However, if you fold down the armrest, you will notice you have 2 cup holders which do not have a cover to them. So if you use the armrest for resting your arm, you end up with your wrist in the cup holder, which is not so much of a win. But this is, you have through loading, so you can have 2 passengers either side and then carry longer objects through the middle. And that brings us on to the boot. The load capacity on the CX-60 is 570 litres, which is bigger than most of its competitors. Plus, look, there's no load lip to lift stuff over, which is great. And this one has this mat here to protect your carpeted floor if you want to do that. Also, you can fold the seats down just by pulling these levers, look, you see? And they lie not flat. They don't lie fully flat. I knew that, didn't just discover it at all. But they don't anyway. There we go. So it makes it a bit harder to push things to the front of the vehicle. I wish I had something to show you. Team, can you go get me a pelly case? Quickly, quickly, please. We might speed this bit up. I'll just do a little dance. Come on, I'm looking like I'm running out of moves. I'm running out of moves. Look, he's coming. Look at this. It's coming. look, yeah, I'm still dancing. Still dancing. There we go. Look, here we go. Slidey in, but oh dear. Oh, it's hard to get to the front. Oh, right. Okay, there we go. That brings us to 5 annoying things about this car. Unlike with the Toyota RAV4, adaptive cruise control is not standard on this Mazda. It'll cost you an extra £1,100. Unlike with some other reversing camera systems, which stay hidden until you go into reverse and they pop out, or they have a little washer to keep them clean, this one has neither, which means that it can get covered in grime, and the only way to clean it is to sometimes, when you realise it's dirty, when you put it in reverse and can't see anything, you have to hop out the car, come around and go like that. All CX-60s get a heated steering wheel as standard. However, it's only this part that is heated. Now, I know that's technically where you should be holding the steering wheel, but quite a lot of people like to hold it in other positions as well. So why not heat the whole lot, Mazda? Just listen how tinny the door shut is. The brakes squeak like you've just run over a mouse. Have a listen. It's 1 mouse dead, 2 mice dead, and whoops, that's 3 mice dead. It's like mouse Armageddon.
My girl! You go take care of my little girl now.
It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. Check this out. The load cover fits neatly under the boot floor. The car uses facial recognition to recognise the driver or who is driving it, and it automatically adjusts the seat position for that person. Who drives like this? Oh, it must be me. It's recognising my face. Not only do you have a 12-volt socket here in the back, there's also another 3-pin socket with 150 watts. And I'll show you this while I'm here. Look, this little lever, if I pull it, it just lowers the central seat. Lovely. The car automatically brakes its rear inside wheel when you're cornering to help get the car rotating and keep it nice and flat through the bends. In addition to the 4-wheel drive system, you also have hill descent control and an off-road mode of the driving system, which sets the car up especially for slippery conditions when you're off-road. The CX-60 is available with 3 different engines. There's 2 diesels. They're both 3.3 litre straight 6s. One has 200 horsepower and is rear-wheel drive, and the other is 250 horsepower, which is 4-wheel drive. Then there's this. It's a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol mated to an electric motor with a plug-in hybrid system, which puts out 330 horsepower. This is also 4-wheel drive. Regardless of which CX-60 you go for, they all come with an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now let's see what this Mazda CX-60 is like to drive. I'm going to start off in town, and I don't know if you can hear that clonking sound. That's the suspension going over bumps. And it does feel a little bit firmer than you'd imagine for this kind of car. Look, can you notice that, going over those bumps? It's probably made worse by this is the hybrid version, and because it's got a load of batteries on board, it has to have slightly stiffer suspension to stop it leaning in the bends. But a Lexus NX is definitely more comfortable over bumps. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of the Lexus NX, click on the pop-out banner up there or follow the link in the description below. However, what this car is pretty good for is making tight turns. Hopefully I can do this in one go now and not be proved wrong. Go on, do it. Yeah, I did it! 10.8 metre turning circle, which is very, very good for this size of car. It's better than most of its competitors. So I'm pleased about that. And that makes it quite easy to drive in town. Also, you've got big door mirrors. The view out the back window is pretty good. It's easy to drive through busy traffic. There is a slight issue I do have though, and that's the brakes. Can sometimes seem a little bit grabby, but I find that with a lot of electric or plug-in hybrid cars, because the first part you're braking is regen braking, which doesn't feel that natural, and this doesn't feel that natural. Now I would actually like to just drive it around under electric power alone, which you can do with this plug-in hybrid. Apparently it'll do 39 miles on electric power alone, though realistically you're probably going to get about 30, which is a little bit less than some of its competitors. However, as is the case with plug-in hybrids, I forgot to charge it, so I'm just relying on the petrol engine. That means the economy is 48 miles per gallon rather than the actual claimed 188 miles per gallon. But I think that is what happens with plug-in hybrids. Unless you really are on it in plugging them in every night, making sure you're running them on electricity, the actual economy isn't really that special. However, that is my fault. But I think a lot of people tend to do that anyway. You just forget and go, do you know what, I'll just rely on the petrol engine, I'll charge it tomorrow. Whereas with an electric car, if you don't charge it, you ain't moving, which is sort of like a bad thing too, but I think you get my point, right? Now let's see what the CX-60 is like on a faster road. So I'm at 40 miles an hour, want to get up to 70, which is a speed limit on this dual carriageway. I'm gonna overtake now, floor it. Whoa, done off shift, sounds pretty good as well. There was an initial pickup from the electric motor, I noticed that, but then the gearbox suddenly changed down and off we went, and that all happened pretty quickly. You know, this is an 8-speed auto and it managed to just get the right ratio at the right time, provide the performance that I required. Now that I am travelling at speed, I'm getting a little bit of tyre noise from the road, a little bit of wind noise. I don't think it's quite as quiet to travel in as something like a BMW X3, and if you click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below, you can watch my full in-depth video review of that car. Final thing to do, try this car out on a twisty country road. I've got into sports mode, which I think sharpens the throttle response, makes the gearbox hold onto a gear for longer, adds some weight to the steering, and most importantly of all, makes the dials turn red. The throttle response is sharper and the car's more eager to kick down a gear as well to give you more performance. Once again, I'm noticing the bouncy suspension here because this surface is a little bit undulating and rough and uneven, and this car's fidgeting a little bit. But let's see how it goes round a corner, because Mazdas have a reputation for being quite sporty and fun to drive. Will it be the case with this? So I like the steering. The steering feels good. It's like dependable, faithful. You get the sense that you're putting the car exactly where you want it. It doesn't actually lean that much in the bends. That's obviously the upside of that stiff suspension. It's done its job, but I think I'd rather have more comfort than an ability to go around corners dead flat. But assessing it for just handling and cornering capability, it's good. And it's good for a plug-in hybrid because obviously this version of the car is heavier than a standard normal hybrid or a diesel version. So it actually goes down a twisty road remarkably well, if that's what you're into. In fact, this car sort of encourages you to go quite quickly. I'm not sure your family will appreciate that, but you will appreciate that if you've got the four-wheel drive version, you do get good traction as you're coming out of the bends. And there you go. I think I've told you everything you need to know about how this car drives. Mazda says the CX-60 will do 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Let's find out the reality now, because I'm going to launch it and time it with my specialist timing gear. Here we go. Wow, sounds like it's got a supercharger. 6.13. Quick! It wasn't quite as quick as they said. Okay, I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm not going to brake boost it, I'm just going to stamp on the accelerator. That was no better. Oh, it was! 5.9? 5.8, 5.9. It's getting close, isn't it? going to do one more because I just want to just double check something. I'm going to do the same again, but this time not use the parking brake. Let's go. That might be the best yet. That's the way you launch this car. 5.88. That's close enough to what Mazda said. And I think that noise can't be a supercharger because this has a turbocharger, not a supercharger. That noise must be the electric motor, which is quite noisy. So then, what's my final verdict on the Mazda CX-60? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, in the case of this plug-in hybrid, I would probably go with an alternative. However, if you're going for one of the diesels, then I reckon you should shortlist the CX-60. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think of my verdict in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to CarWow for a surprise.